Alright, welcome to section 1. So, like I said in the introduction, we're going to be looking at the processes in the project quality management one after the other. And the first process is the plan quality management. So let's dive in. Now, first off, we're going to be starting with an overview of the plan quality management. Now, what is plan quality management? You may be asking. It is the initial phase in the project quality management process. So when you're starting out managing the quality of your project, this is the first thing that you have to do: planning. All right, they say proper planning prevents poor performance. He who fails to plan has already planned to fail. All right, so if you're going to manage your quality, you're going to have to plan how you're going to go about managing that quality. What are the tools you're going to need? What are the information you're going to need? And all that. All right, so that's what this planning is. It involves defining the quality standards and determining the processes and activities that will satisfy them throughout the project. Okay, so this proactive approach ensures that quality is planned into the project from the beginning, setting the stage for effective quality management. So you can see that now. So in this plan quality management, you can now define the standards. All right, you define the standards for determining the processes and activities that you're going to be carrying out, all right, throughout the project. Okay, and this has to be done right from the beginning of the project, not at the middle, not towards the end. All right, you can't wait towards the end of the project for you to start, checking, okay, are we doing the right thing? Is our work up to standard and all that? No, that's already too late. So at the beginning of the project, that's when you start setting the stage for effective quality management. So this is very important. Now, by the end of this section, you should be able to understand the objectives of plan quality management, identify the inputs, tools and techniques, and then the outputs of this process. And then you'll also understand how plan quality management contributes to the overall project success. Okay, and then you will also understand how plan quality management contributes to the overall project success. All right, so that's the overview of the plan quality management process. Now let's look at the first part, which is the inputs. All right, what inputs do we require for this particular sub process? Now let's move on. And then you'll also understand how plan quality management contributes to the overall project success. Okay, so that's a brief overview of this process. Now let's take a look at the objectives of the plan quality management. Okay, here we go. So what objectives are we looking at as project managers when we talk about planning the quality of our project? And the primary objectives of plan quality management include: the primary purpose of this process is to identify quality requirements and standards relevant to the project and to detail how the project will demonstrate compliance with quality requirements. Okay, now for every project there is quality requirements. Now you have to understand that as a project manager. Okay, at the outset, when you're developing your project management plan, you should have gotten a grasp of the quality standards, all right, that are required in this particular project. Okay, and then ensure that the standards that you are setting for the project actually is in compliance with those quality requirements. Okay, so that's the primary purpose of this sub process, to ensure that there is compliance. Okay, and then also the objective is to create a quality management plan that serves as a guide for project execution regarding quality standards and processes. Okay, so this quality management plan quality management process is supposed to guide you, all right, when you're checking the compliance of your project with quality requirements. Okay, so these are the objectives. Now let's look at the inputs of this process. So what are the inputs in this plan quality management sub process? Now the first one is the project management plan. The overall project management plan provides a context for quality planning, including scope, schedule, budget, and other critical aspects. Okay, so for you to be able to plan the quality of your project effectively, you need to have the overall project management plan itself. All right, the project management plan gives you the context, the basis, the platform, all right, for planning the quality of your entire project, and that will encompass the scope of the project, the schedule, the budget, and also other critical aspects of your project. So the project management plan is a very critical input in this sub process. We also have the stakeholder register. Understanding the expectations and requirements of stakeholders is crucial for defining the quality standards. So you have to understand who your stakeholders are. We've already discussed that earlier in the course, though we are still going to see a knowledge area where we'll look at them in detail. All right, stakeholders, people who are involved in the project and who have both influence and authority over the projects as well as the outcome of the project. Okay, so you want to understand what their expectations are and what their requirements are. Okay, this is going to aid you in defining the standards of quality that you're going to be setting for your project. Another input is the risk register. Now, identifying potential risks and their impact on quality is considered in the quality planning process. All right, the risk register gives you a list of all the foreseeable risks, all right, things that can actually list the success of your project, things that can actually impact negatively on the project. So those are what we call the risks, and you have them outlined in your risk register. So when planning your quality management, you need to be able to have your risk register handy, right? So you see how those possible risks can actually impact on the quality of the project that you're handling. Okay, next we have the requirements documentation. Quality planning is closely tied to project requirements. Understanding these requirements is essential for developing appropriate quality standards. All right, so this is actually related to the stakeholder register. All right, from the stakeholders, you're going to have the requirements, okay, for the project. So that's what gives birth to the requirements documentation. Okay, so when you're planning your quality, you need to have this documentation. All right, you need to have the requirements handy. Okay, so that's what's going to help you to be able to develop standards that are appropriate for this particular project, and that will also be in agreement with the requirements of the stakeholders. Alright, so another input is the cost performance baseline. This baseline provides insight into the cost expectations, helping to align quality planning with budget constraints. Okay, so when we're talking about quality, as far as project management is concerned, you cannot leave out the costs. All right, you cannot ignore the project budget. All right, you know that the budget is one of the constraints in the project. So when you're trying to set standards for quality, you have to also be aware of the cost implications, okay, of the standards that you're going to set. When we talk about quality, most of the times it's related to cost and price. The higher the quality, we know that the higher the cost, right? The lower the quality, the lower the costs. So while we're setting standards for our projects, which of course ought to be high, okay, so we need to have our eyes on what the cost implications are going to be, right, and how to actually manage that so that we don't go off the budget, okay, of our project. And this is very important. So last but not the least, we have the schedule baseline. All right, the schedule baseline informs the planning process by aligning quality consideration with the project timeline. Okay, so now when you're trying to ensure quality compliance, you know, this is going to require some investment in terms of time. All right, and for this reason, you need to be aware and be careful so that the time you are allocating to compliance to quality requirements do not eat into the project timeline. All right, because if that be the case, then you're definitely going to have what we call a scope creep. You're going beyond the timeline of the project. All right, so understanding that ensuring quality compliance is going to require an investment in time. Okay, so you have to have the project schedule, all right, handy. You have to have your eyes on the project timeline to ensure that whatever time you are investing in that falls within the timeline of the project. I hope this makes a good enough sense. Okay, so that's that for the inputs as far as the plan quality management is concerned. So let's see the tools and techniques that we use for this sub process. All right, so what are the tools and techniques that you require as a project manager for the plan quality management? First, you have your cost benefit analysis. Now this technique assesses the cost associated with implementing quality activities against the expected benefits. All right, so just like I mentioned earlier when we're talking about the costs related to the quality, okay, you have to assess those costs, and this is very important. All right, you have to assess those costs and then equating it with the benefits of that particular activity. All right, and how it's going to give the expected outcome. Okay, so that's where this technique comes in, cost benefit analysis. For every quality performance that you're going to do, right, whether it is setting standards or quality assurance or inspection, whatever it is, since it's going to mostly involve an investment of money, all right, so there's going to be a cost implication on it. All right, so you want to also look at what the benefit is going to be. All right, and with that you can now judge the worthiness of that particular activity. Okay, So next is benchmarking. Comparing project processes and results to those of other projects or organizations help in setting realistic quality standards. So this is benchmarking. You are actually comparing, you are doing a comparison, right, of your project processes and the results with other projects, or maybe in other organization, or it could even be within your own organization, maybe with a different project. So you're going to have to do this benchmarking to ensure that you are setting realistic quality standards. All right, you are not doing something that is, extraneous or out of this world. Okay. Flow charting. So this is another tool, or do I say a technique, that we use in planning quality management. It's a visual representation of processes. All right, and this aids in understanding and planning the quality processes. So when you have flow charts, it gives you a visual representation of all the processes that are involved in the quality process, how one flows into another, and all that. Design of experiments, DOE. This statistical technique helps in systematically changing variables to identify and optimize the factors that influence the quality of a process or product. Right, so DOE is actually a statistical technique, okay, and it helps you as a project manager to systematically change the variables, all right, the different variables, in order to identify and optimize the factors that influence the quality of a process or a product. All right, in your project management, there are so many factors that will actually influence the quality of a particular process, or even the quality of the result or outcome or product at the end of the day. Okay, so you're going to be able to analyze those different variables, all right, that influence the quality at the end of the day. So that's this technique, DOE. And last but not the least, statistical sampling. This involves choosing a subset of items from a larger population to make inferences about the population's quality. Okay, so this is statistics here. As a project manager, you also have to know a bit of your statistics. Okay, and then of course, if you don't, that's the reason you have the opportunity to bring in a subject matter expert, maybe a statistician, someone who is savvy in that area, to be able to use those statistical tools, okay, and then do some samplings, get a subset of items from a particular population, okay, that you're trying to get data from, and then use that to represent the whole population, and then come up with inferences and conclusions based on the behavior of that subset of items. Okay, so that's it for the tools and techniques. Let's move further to see the output of this process. Okay, so what are the outputs in the plan quality management process? Here you have the quality management plan. So after all is said and done, you now have a document, a clear document that outlines the quality management plan, all right, and documents the project's quality objectives, the standards that will be used, and how quality will be measured, validated, and controlled. Okay, so the quality management plan gives you a definition of the standards, okay, of the quality, the processes, and how you're going to have all that measured and controlled throughout the course of your project. And then you also have the process improvement plan, While not always a direct output, the quality planning process may identify opportunities for process improvements, which are then documented in the process improvement plan. Okay, so this is a very important area when we talk about quality management. Now, quality management, we need to understand that it is not just an event, and that's this is usually a problem when it comes to managing projects, executing projects. Now, you see some projects, after they have been completed, right, after a short while, you see that the standards now begin to deteriorate. The project is now left to deteriorate. Why? Because there are no systems set in place for process improvement, no systems set in place for maintenance. All right, maintaining that quality, keeping it at that particular standard on an ongoing basis. So this is why process improvement plan is very critical. Okay, so when you are done with your project, you are done delivering the best quality that is possible. All right, we should also have a plan or a process put in place for improving on an ongoing basis the standard that has been set or put in place. All right, or at least to maintain that that standard of quality. Even if we are not going to improve on it, at least we can maintain it and keep it there so that it doesn't deteriorate or go down. All right, so as a project manager, you have to really look into this, and that's why you need to have the process improvement plan. Not just to have a quality management plan, but a process improvement plan. All right. Now let's look at key takeaways from the plan quality management. So the quality management plan serves as a comprehensive guide for quality planning, ensuring that all aspects of quality are considered and aligned with project objectives. It provides a framework for the execution and control of quality activities throughout the project life cycle. Okay? Additionally, the process may uncover opportunities for process improvements, contributing to ongoing project success. Okay, so that's it for the plan quality management. I'm sure you've learned a lot in this section. So in the next section, we're going to be looking at the next sub process in the plan, in the project quality management process. So I'll see you in the next section. Cheers.